On a grey autumn morning in 1805, the wind across the Atlantic carried something grave, a breath heavy and foreboding, threading through the rigging and stirring the uneasy hearts of thousands. The sky hung weighed down with clouds just above the edge of the world, and the sea below reflected only sombre determination. Off the coast of Cadiz, a phalanx of warships loomed, their sails taut, their contours formidable, as if the ocean itself had sprouted citadels. British ships, seasoned and silent, clustered in disciplined order, their decks prepped for what all aboard knew was inevitable. Across the choppy expanse, the Franco-Spanish alliance, vaster in number, brimming with firepower, waited under the flag of their emboldened emperor. Inside HMS Victory, Admiral Horatio Nelson felt the moment settle deep within his bones. He strode the quarterdeck, his attire impeccable but his gaze distant, already charting invisible paths through the coming storm. His officers clustered near, masked nerves behind routine. Nelson's demeanor was a contradiction, tranquility amid brewing chaos, purpose in every measured word. His men drew strength from that calm, his resolve was their anchor. Before them, Vice Admiral Villeneuve manned his flagship Bucentaur, surrounded by the splendor and might of Allied ships. He glanced skyward, uncertainty shadowing his face. To him, the numbers should promise victory, yet the Atlantic seemed restless, unwilling to favor the bold for sheer numbers alone. All at once, flags rose among the British masts, Nelson's famous signal, "England expects that every man will do his duty." It swept the decks in a hush, it was a summons, a command, and a benediction in one. Without hesitation, the British columns lunged forward. Rather than mirroring the established tactics of parallel broadsides, two spear lines cut perpendicular to the enemy's array, risking everything for the heart of the Allied line. It was bold to the point of recklessness, a signature of Nelson's daring instinct. The first roar of cannon shattered the suspense. Splinters flew, smoke coiled, men shouted above the unnatural thunder of war. Ships collided, grappled together, decks awash with rain and blood and smoke. Confusion reigned, but within it was clarity, the British focus on individual initiative, the iron chain of command, the trust each man placed in the one beside him. Nelson moved among his officers, steady and observant amid destruction. Flashes of his good hand gestured, eye scanning for each shift in wind and line, adjusting, adapting. Every decision rippled through the fleet, turning chaos into a brutal sort of order. Above, the Victory's mast shuddered from direct hits, and even as the decks shook, Nelson pressed onward, inspiring, never retreating. On the Bucentaur, Villeneuve's doubts only grew as his fleet faltered. Fire engulfed wood and canvas, masts toppled, and the British pressed ruthlessly, cutting the line in two and exposing the vulnerable segments. The battle teetered in roaring uncertainty, destinies decided in minutes amid the haze of smoke and the spray of the sea. Then, with the slow recession of gunfire, a new silence overtook the waters. The Allied fleet, wounded and scattered, drifted as shadows of their former power. The British, battered yet unbroken, stood master of the field.